I want to say before I get into this video, not to go and harass Nikki. Best thing that you can do, if anything, is just support me as I go ahead and support the girls.
I'm not dropping no damn kids at no police station.
You have to. You have to. You actually have to.
That just proves you don't care about these kids.
No, it proves I do, because I'm protecting their safety. I'm the one protecting their safety.
The thought of a police last time. Did you not hear her last time?
I'm protecting the children from their safety. You've been violent. You've hit me in front of them. You've abused me in front of them.
That does not make them violent people. Let me remind you right now who you are. You are not shit. You ain't never been shit from day one. You will never be shit, you motherfucker. Try me. Fucking keep trying me.
I'm not trying you. I'm trying to be fair, and I'm trying to protect my safety and the kids' safety.
I will expose your ass. I swear to God I will. Keep fucking trying me, Jamie. I swear to God. No. I've had enough of this motherfucking shit. At the police station.
I think the only person who can be exposed is you. You're the cheater. You're the violent person. But I'm not doing that because I don't want my kids to have to see the real you on the internet.
Out of the house, Nikki. Please leave. Please leave. Please leave the house, Nikki. Please leave the house.
Look at you.
Please leave the house. Please leave the house. This is violence. You've got the kids in your hands. Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what he wanted.
Leave the house right now.
This is exactly what he wanted.
Leave the house.
And look, he's getting video.
Leave the house.
This has been planning this.
Leave the house. Leave the house.
From day one.
Leave the house. Leave the house. The children don't deserve to see this.
I think you need to take responsibility.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Leave the house.
You guys will never see my kids again.
That is
You guys will never see my kids again.
That will not.
Ever.
That will not happen. Leave the house.
Look at you guys.
Leave the house.
Look at you guys. That's
Leave the
hilarious.
house.
Look.
Leave the house.
Whatever.
Leave the house, Nikki. Leave the
This is
house.
exactly what you wanted, Jamie.
Leave the
This is
house.
exactly what you wanted. You're actually
Leave the house.
exactly what you wanted.
And this is what I've been putting up with for years. Violence. All of this. And the kids have to see it. That's the sad thing. And never taking responsibility for any of her actions. Caught out trying to cheat on me, and then she acts like this. Instead of saying sorry, instead of trying to make it right. I'm sorry, Mom. You okay?
No, I'm not. Okay.
Where's your phone? I'm actually calling the police.
No, just leave it for now.
Yesterday, Nikki sent me a nasty message saying that she won't be picking Ava up anymore, and if I want to take her home on these Wednesdays, then I have to bring her back as well. So basically, I drive down.
Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we? My name is Fumidesaluvold. For those of you that are stopping by for the very first time, indeed, I hope you guys are having a fabulous Sunday. I had every intention of taking the day off. I had every intention of going out into the sunshine. I live in London, so you know how scarce sunshine is, and just living my best life and getting some supplies. But no, you guys bombarded me because Jamie Perkins has deleted his video. So for those of you that are just joining this WhatsApp group, let me try and start from the tippy. Jamie Perkins was married to Nikki Thot, and they were from Australia, and they were the OG family YouTube vlog lifestyle channel. It was extremely successful, and they amassed an amazing following when they were dating, when they got married, when they had children, when they moved to their dream home. It was a fabulous channel, I must say. And they had millions and millions of followers. There was this thing which was called couple goals. Even then, I knew that it was nonsense. But couple goals was a huge thing. And couple goals just meant I want to emulate my life like them. I want to have a husband and a relationship like them. I will say now that couple goals does not exist. I have been married successfully for 15 years, hoping for another 50. And I can tell you that intimate relationships, platonic relationships, any kind of relationship has its ups and downs. Nothing is perfect because we are not perfect human beings. We are flawed human beings. And so when you say that you are looking at couple goals, that their life is perfect, that they're the most perfect relationship, it doesn't exist because they are not perfect. And to portray this perfect relationship is not sustainable. If you love that person, you are going to disagree and you're going to argue. And there will come a situation where you're going to take different sides. That is even much more impacted. My married sisters and brothers, you let me know in the comment section when you have children. Because you were raised differently, one, and you have your own ideology of how you want to raise your children, either like the way that you were raised or the very opposite of which you were raised. So Jamie and Nikki had this wonderful vlog, wonderful children, and it was really copacetic. It was very picture perfect until it was not. And they announced that they were going their separate ways, which was a shock to their followers, to their fans. And I understand this because you put all of these celebratory, over-the-top celebrations, milestones online. And those that identify with you or relate to you for one reason or another, we celebrate you. So we celebrate what? Your marriage, your wedding, beautiful, the flower girls, the cake, the speeches, the music. We celebrate you. We put comments down. We send you messages in DM. When it came to moving to your new house, we celebrate you. We'll choose this for you. Oh, Nikki, buy this gadget for the kitchen, for the bedroom. When you had your daughter, we celebrated you. And so when you broke up, that dream was dashed for them. I completely and absolutely understand. And so you owe them an explanation in some way, shape or form. They need to know that it's not over, even though it's over between the two of you. That you guys are still going to get along, that we can still follow you, that we can still do this and still do that, of which really it could not. Because their fame was from a family channel, a family now divided. So that was that. Now, there were rumors, as there are, that Jamie had cheated on Nikki. That Jamie had done some very unsavory things to Nikki. And for whatever reason, Nikki on social media, Instagram in particular, was liking those messages, those statements, and fanning the flames. That was evil of you, Nikki. I'll tell you here and now, that was evil of you. Whether it was true or not, I don't care about that. You actually co-signed without saying it, using other people as mouthpieces and weaponizing that narrative for it to be thrust out there. Because if you like something, you have how many, 1 million plus followers? They know that you liked it. Oh, Nikki liked it. That means it must be right. And so Jamie kept his silence. And 4 years went by. I've got a list of stuff and I don't want to forget anything. I did a previous video where I talked to Jamie and then I talked to Nikki. I'm not going to do it in this episode. This episode is going to be circumstance after circumstance, and then I will address each one like that, if that's okay. I studied business administration in university many years ago. As a matter of fact, 30 years ago. I graduated when I was 23, I think, and I am 54 now. So it was 30 years ago. But those of you that are in uni, you know that you have electives, and so you take different subjects in lieu and in support of the course that you're pursuing. And so I decided that, you know what, why don't you go ahead and take a psychology class? I was addicted. I did psychology 101 to 106. And those courses have been by my side throughout my life. I don't want to brag about anything, but I'll tell you this. One of the good things that I am excellent at are relationships. I understand people. I understand how they think, how they process, why they do what they do, under duress or not duress, when they're happy. I even understand me. It helped me. And that was why I could come to a head after my disastrous relationships repeatedly to say, Fumi, you are the common denominator in all of this. It doesn't matter who the guy is. The thing is that it's you. And it's not working out, baby. And so I could reflect. And that was powerful. Now, 4 years after the fact, out of the clear blue sky, Fumi Nation were in my DMs, because I didn't address it right away, about Jamie and Nikki Perkins. And about Jamie, who had released a 1 and 23-minute video, to be exact, because I watched the entire thing, about why the demise of his marriage. He went on to talk about how Nikki was extremely manipulative and how Nikki went on to deter him from taking the children to Disneyland, and behind his back quickly tried to book dentist appointments for them so that he could not take them to Disneyland. I believe that is true. And again, Nikki, that is extremely manipulative, and you're weaponizing the kids, using the kids against him to punish him for whatever reason, but we're going to get into it. When you do that, Nikki, as I said in my prior video, you don't punish Jamie, you punish the children. You don't punish Jamie, you punish the children. I have had a front row seat as to what divorce looks like. And sometimes you are so obsessed, and the hate that you have for your spouse blinds you, and you no longer consider the children. You think that you're considering the children, but you're not. You're so blinded by the hate that you have for your spouse. In many ways, you hate your spouse more than you love your children. And I know that's a very bitter pill to admit, but it is true. Sometimes it's the right thing to do as opposed to what is right. He went on talking about how he's in an Uber now because the court has told him that he can only upload 1 video a week. I found that odd. I found it very odd, and I found not that the court had allowed that, because I understood very, very clearly that as far as the courts were concerned, that perhaps you could no longer monetize the children online. Perhaps Nikki had said, I don't feel comfortable with the children online. I don't feel comfortable with the children in all of these episodes, in these kind of settings. And perhaps the court had sat back, negotiated, and thought, okay, once a week at the very, very most. Jamie, you lived off your lifestyle, which was family. When that family was no more, the lifestyle goes with it. Do you understand me? It is impossible to continue having the privileges and the monies of that life vlog channel because you no longer have the family to go along with it, because that was why perhaps you had so many fans, because they loved the family unit. They loved the fact that you were in a mixed marriage. They loved the fact that they had children, because perhaps that was what they envisioned for themselves, not necessarily yours, but the whole package. But now you also no longer had that, because you were now divided, divorced from your wife. Are you with me? All right. Jamie went on to talk about how she was violent, and he had receipts to show that she had hit him and she had apologized for hitting him. Nikki, you have no right whatsoever to put your hands on Jamie. In my previous video, because this is the second one, in response to him deleting the video that brought about all of this, I said you walk out. The minute that you want to hit him, you walk out. You have no reason whatsoever to do that. Because if you switch the roles around, Jamie would not last one day. Child services, the courts, families, he'll be wiped out. What if it goes awry? Because it can escalate and he hit you back, and he hit you a little harder than you could take, and there's brain damage. I don't care how hot-tempered you are. You cool down. You cool all the way down. You have no right. Jamie went on to show a video of where they were in his house, I think, in his home or the mother's home. I think it was, I don't know, but the mother was there, Nikki was there, and Jamie was there. And Nikki walked, and there was a and the phone or whatever. I'll tell you right here and now, if I was there and we had a heated argument, and you have the phone in my face to record me, I would have knocked it out too. And I don't consider that violence. Celebrities have done it for years with photographers. When you are filming them and they don't want to be filmed, they knock the camera out of their hands. That's not violence. That is being aggressive. What I consider violence, if you are hitting him, if you are using something on him, if you are throwing stuff at him, if you are tearing his things or whatever, that's violent. That's what I consider violent. Was it disturbing? It was disturbing because of a whole range of things, and I'm going to break it down. When Jamie brought this video out, I put in a clip of my life, of where Ula and I had a disagreement. Ula and I work together, as you very well know. He does all of the filming. He does majority of the editing. I've started to learn how to edit. I'm even looking for yet another editor. Pray for me. And I'm very comfortable in my skin. I am very, very solid in who I am. And I give you the truth. I showed you a side of me that none of you have seen. And I've been on YouTube for 10 years. I've been married for 15 and I have a wonderful son, as many of you know. I did that for a number of reasons. I wanted to show that marriages are tough, that sometimes you don't agree, that sometimes you can be really, really upset. Sometimes you can be unreasonable. It does not mean that I don't love my husband. You've got the good, you've got the bad, you've got the unexplainable, you've got the unreasonable. One of you peeped it and you understood the psychosis, because that was the number one red flag I had with Jamie in that scene. I showed the other side of me, the not so fabulous, glamorous, controlled, elegant side of me. You saw somebody who was frazzled, a little bit crazy, uncontrolled, and I was going the wrong direction. I didn't even know where I was going. I showed the bad side of me. And I showed Ula as he is. Jamie showed the bad side of Nikki and showed the good side of him. That was the difference. That I showed me and Jamie showed the other to emphasize his innocence, of which he is not, because there's no smoke without fire. Because when push comes to shove, there are three sides. There's Jamie's side, there's Nikki's side, and there's the truth. That was the smoking gun for me. Because if Jamie had said in this 1 and 23-minute rant that, you know what, I did this also. I have to admit that it's not only Nikki, that I also did this. Then I would have felt that it was very authentic and not one-sided. So I needed and I wanted Nikki's side. I wanted to be very patient. Nikki, you are out of control. And I understand to an extent something must have happened. But don't you ever do that with your child in your hand. It could have gone left. Then what? And we are Africans. You couldn't try this with an African man. Let's call it all the way 100. You couldn't try it with an African man. Let's call it 100. And the mother said to Nikki, you have to take accountability. And I think that set Nikki off. And Nikki said, you will never see my children again. Nikki, you weaponized those children. I said, you'll never see my children again. You have no right. You have no right. And you were rude to Jamie's mother. No matter what, Jamie's mother is 80. Again, our culture, you would never speak to an elder like that. You would never. You would never do it to your own folk. Don't try and do it out here in these streets with Jamie's parents. You owe them an apology, whether you feel that you should not is not the point. You owe them for the disrespect. Whatever's between you and Jamie, that's different. You should have just kept your mouth shut. You should have taken the baby and gone. The flip side of it is that Jamie was like, leave the house, Nikki, leave the house, Nikki, leave the house, Nikki. Very controlled, because you knew you were filming, because you had this on her. And so you were controlled. I found it odd that you said, Nikki, you have the baby and go. I couldn't say that about my son. Ula, you have the son, you have our son, go. I'll call him by name. You see, it's a disconnect sometimes. And I peeped it, the psychosis about it. Because you were not focused on your child. You were focused on getting Nikki all the way unwrapped and unraveled. Now, family is tricky because there are a couple of things. If this was my mama first and foremost would have said, Fumi, sit down, calm down. Nobody is going. It doesn't matter what Ula would have said. This is family business also. Calm down. If I was holding the phone, my father would have knocked the phone out of my hand. You crazy? What's wrong with you? It's a family matter. You made it a public matter. What was for the film? I know you would have said, for my protection, because nobody would have believed him. I believe you, Jamie. I believe you. I believe that she hit you. I do believe it. But I don't believe that it was only her, that two of you antagonized each other, that two of you are toxic, that two of you did a lot of things in front of these children that should not have been present to see and to watch. I believe you. The thing was that what you thought, that extra ammunition to sway us your side, wasn't necessary. Instead, it blew you right up for me to say, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Nobody ran after her in that state to check on her because she has the baby. And so, Jamie, I felt that this 1.5 hour episode that you brought with all of the receipts and so forth, you made it one-sided because you made it only about Nikki. about what Nikki had done. You did not make it about what the two of you had done. Now, your children have to see and watch this. And the way I feel, I know that they've seen so much more than what you have shown us in this little 1.5 saga, as opposed to what's been going on in the past 4 years. Children are delicate. Children are fragile. And you have to protect them. And so I'm going to make a break now and give you a little story time. And I've said this story before, but I have so many new followers, and I feel that it fits this. There were 2 boys that grew up to be men, and they had come together because their father had passed away. Their father was a very strong man. He was a drunk. He was hardworking. He was a bully. And he was a very tough man to love. And he loved in a tough manner. And he did not show much emotion. As a matter of fact, very little or none at all. But he achieved great things. But he had also really impacted his family with great sorrow. Because of the way he was. And because of the way he was with his children. And because of the way he was with his wife. And so these 2 sons had grown up, handsome boys, handsome young men. The gravesite was on top of a hill. Before you go up to the hill, there's a tree, beautiful big tree and lovely shade. And there was an older man there. And that older man actually turned out to be the father's friend. And he was happy to see the sons. The first son came. He wore a suit, he wore a tie, he wore a shirt. He was well groomed. He came with his children. He came with his wife, all well dressed, and they went up the hill. When they came down, his friend said, "Oh, Jeremy, look at how you have turned out." And the son said, "I turned out this way because of what I saw." They hugged, they kissed, he went on by. The second son was late. He was drunk. He was disheveled. He was divorced. And he was looking for a job. He was bad-tempered, and so he was screaming at the taxi, of whom spilled him out onto the yard. He went on top of the hill, and he paid his respects to his father. And when he came down, his father's friend said, "Jonathan, how are you? And so these are your days of how you have turned out." And Jonathan turned to him and said, "True. It was what I was shown." These 2 girls are going through the same experience of the screaming and the shouting and the threats and the unhappiness of the both of you. They're going to have 2 interpretations. One might take it well, the other might not. It might be years. And somehow that trauma will erupt. You can imagine how frightening that scene was. And I'm referring to Jamie and to Nikki that day. As adults, I speak for myself, but I'm sure some of you are aligned. That if you went to a store, as an adult, think about it, a store or a restaurant or a supermarket where there are a group of people and 2 people started fighting. Immediately I pick my bag, let's go. I'm out. I don't wait to know who, why, how. I don't want it to escalate. I don't want to be around it. I'm feeling a little bit anxious. I'm feeling a little... It's happened where I looked at Ola and I said, Ola, I don't mind. We can go. You can imagine that with those two daughters. You can imagine that with those two daughters. And so in my first video, I talked about that. And I'm also going to talk about physical domestic abuse towards men. Husbands. It's the saddest thing. It's almost sadder. Almost. Not, I'm not saying that it is, but it's right up there with physical abuse with women. It's very real. And I don't condone it. I don't condone it. I don't support it. This subject is dark. It's dark. That's why I wore this bright kaftan. That's why I wore my makeup. It's very dark. It's not fun to do, but it has to be done. I don't support it. This case has been heavily divided. Team Nikki and Team Jamie. I don't have a side. I'm not siding anybody. I'm looking at the two of you and I will tell you what you're doing wrong. And so far, this has been a horrible mess. Needless to say, when I did the first episode, which I will link below, Fumi Nation kept on feeding me and updating me, of which you informed me that Nikki had responded on her Instagram and she had put out a statement saying, I'm going to be coming with the receipts and I'm going to be coming and I'm going to explain myself and I'm going to fill in all of the gaps and all of the pieces, as I thought she would. Jamie deleted the episode. I wonder why. Jamie what? Jamie deleted the episode. Even his channel is not up. The channel is not there. I don't know why, and I wish he hadn't. I don't know why you thought, Jamie, that you would come with very strong accusations about your ex-wife and not think that this was going to blow all the way up. I think that you thought that I could go ahead and say this and not much would come out of it but empathy for you, support with you, support your channel, and that would be it. Don't ever come to a gunfight with a knife. Mistake number one. You deleting it doesn't mean anything. It's out there. And so I come to the next little story time, and I'll put the link below. There's a film called Doubt. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late Seymour Hoffman, had a scene in church of which I loved. And it's called Feathers and Rumors. And in this scene, he said that there was a woman who came to him to beg for forgiveness and said, I had said this terrible rumor. Please forgive me. And he told her it's not that easy. And he said, go home and take a pillow and tear it into half. Take a knife and tear it into half. And so she went home and she tore it into half. And all of the feathers just blew out into the air everywhere. On tops of buildings, onto the cement, onto the street, onto cars, onto windowsills, onto bicycles, onto little children's hands. It was everywhere. And she went back, and so she told him, I have done what you bid. And he said, go back now and pick up every single feather. And she said, but that's impossible. They are everywhere. As a matter of fact, they're in places that I would never be able to reach. And it will be with other people that have taken it with them. It's impossible for me to get all of these feathers. And he turned around to her and said, and that is gossip. And that is rumor. And in this day and age of 2023 with social media, with the internet that never forgets, that's exactly what happens when you upload something on the internet. You can never take it down. And Jamie, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. It didn't matter that you had taken it down. It will forever live on and on and on. You have to be careful. When you start serious allegations, you have to really sit back and say to yourself, am I ready for the smoke? Why did you put it down? Why did you put it up? Because perhaps you were able to put it up because the court case was over. Perhaps you put it down because Nikki is coming with the receipts, baby. She's gone to iCloud. She has gone to take the external hard drive to bring out everything on you. Fumi Nation sent me another YouTuber. You must follow him. He's quite a pleasant chap. His name is Murad Merali. I'll put his YouTube page here. And he also covered this story. He also had one or two things to say in relation to Jamie's former friends. They were Jamie's friends and they were no longer his friends because of stuff that he had done. And so he came with a couple of things which I did not know of. Like I told you, I got a life. So it says here that one of Jamie's friends said in response to Jamie's video, don't make me spill the tea because I've been waiting for tea time. This is Jamie's friend who no longer is friends with Jamie. Another friend says, no way. Sorry, I know Nikki and he is just completely manipulating the entire situation. Just remember, you're watching what he's editing, guys. It's exactly what I said. The editing is flawless. And that is what I don't understand, Jamie. Jamie, you can still get another job. Jamie, you can still upload videos and do what you gotta do and make your money if you believe in yourself. I don't think you believed in yourself, and that is how you found yourself after 4 years driving an Uber, because that magic that you formulated is in a huge part with Nikki. And then you thought, okay, you know what? I'll do the lifestyle vlogs with my children. And the court said no. And so you found yourself that you didn't have anything. No, you do, Jamie. You could have done something with yourself. Because I did see one of the episodes and it didn't sit well with me. Talking about the doctor didn't know that she was my child because, of course, of her darker complexion. That kind of thing is a little bit creepy to me. It's a little bit and it's one of the reasons why, and there are a lot of YouTubers here, and they are monetizing their lifestyle of being in a mixed marriage. Like I've said it before, I was told this many a time, and I said absolutely not. Absolutely not. My husband's my husband, my child's my child. I don't have time for that. And of course, as you guys know, Ula never has ever cared. From the beginning, I don't want our son on YouTube episodes and stuff like that. I don't want him on it. It's not healthy. I don't want our marriage to be on it. It's not healthy. You're focusing on the editing and the magic as opposed to focusing on your marriage. It's okay. A lot of YouTubers do that and they're very comfortable with it and they earn a living from that, of which Jamie did, and he no longer earns that living. And I think that maybe Nikki said, I'm not comfortable with the children being on air at a time like this when we are not together, this, that, and the other. How is it that the courts gave Nikki the children? If she was that bad of a mother, that erratic, that crazy, why did they give Nikki the children? Why did they not give Jamie the children if he was much more stable, if he was financially sound? If you had the house, Jamie, as you said, and you were left holding the bag, then she should pay half. 100%. They were both young when they married. She was in her 20s. I think he had just turned 30. They were both young. You build together. Oh, Jamie wanted Nikki to also put in 50-50. Yes! Yes! Because they're both starting out in life. Why not? And as you guys know, I'm a huge advocate for that. No woman should sit at home waiting for a man to come and give her everything. I just feel that it doesn't... You're not easily yoked that way. Do not get me wrong. If he can provide for you during a difficult time, when you cannot work and you're incapable for whatever reason, I understand. But if you can work and you can enrich the family, why wouldn't you do that? All of this that you said, again, Jamie, 1.5 hours of bullets. Was it a situation that you loved the empathy, you loved that they were siding you, but you know what, 50% were also criticizing you, 50% said we were not believing you, you thought that you could bring down the video and that would be that, but no, you have caused a firestorm, and what you have started, ultimately you're not going to be in the position to end. That's just the way that I am looking at it. I have my list so that I don't forget. Hatred, anger, and vengeance is marred and led by emotion. Emotion, you will always make mistakes. You will always make mistakes when you're led by emotion. Whatever your intent was, Jamie, to put this up, it has backfired because you had to bring it down. Jumping on over, it must have been a lot for Jamie, because what Jamie did not see coming was that they were going to accuse him of being a groomer. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. And I hate the fact that I even have to address it. He met her when she was 17 and he was 23, 24, 25. And so what? Do not be ridiculous and don't make this situation worse. The children are here and they're going to have to come and pick up the pieces. It is ridiculous. As far as I'm concerned, that is where it's going to lie. I don't have time for the horse and pony show. It's a heart-smoking mess. Why did you delete the video? Jamie, always remember the children. Always remember the children. Don't do this to them. You go for counseling. You go to a mediator. Something, anything, and stop this madness. You could make this mild or you could make this madness. You have chosen to make this madness. And so we wait. We wait to see what Nikki is going to say. But I want the two of you to go and reflect, to really think now. Think before either one of you makes another move. Nikki, stop the calculating moves of changing dates and times and depriving him from seeing his children. That would make anybody mad. You tried that with me, that's the last time you tried. You cannot do that, and you cannot have that God complex to think that you can do anything as you want, even if it is wrong, even if you feel that you need some kind of safety. Do not do that without cosign, without any kind of backing from the court system or from whoever is overseeing this very, very ugly, dark divorce. Jamie, I feel that you are manipulative and you are calculating, and this is a game of chess that has gone left. If I were you, I would stop this. I would really think now, because you went on emotion, because maybe you saw Nikki with the boyfriend and she's there holding hands and there's a glass and there's nighttime and so on and so forth, and you are alone in this dirty, dusty car. You've been on the Uber all day. You don't have a job. You don't have money. You don't have a woman. You just might move out of the 3-bedroom house with the pool and the office, and you got really salty and said, you know what, I'm going to show her. Well, look now, it's kind of showed you, and she hasn't even responded yet. And she hasn't even come up with a video yet. Be very careful. The war of the roses, it's a war. And there are really serious issues out there. There are really serious issues of which we should be addressing. So please don't do this. Think now before you go forward. Because at the end of the day, Jamie, you can get another job. You're hugely talented. You have the magic of editing. I am sure that you can get a fabulous job for all of your talents and gifts. I'm an actor, and I tell you that the way that editing is done in film, it is magic. And so when Christmas time comes, myself included, the big Christmas basket went to the editor, because you just might be on the editing floor. Everybody catch a breath, because there's his side, her side, and there's the truth. Let us stay in the middle. Let us not judge nobody, but let us call out what we're seeing. And I understand people. I understand human behavior. I am married. I have a child, and I've had adopted children for years. I saw this from the first 5 minutes, and I said, okay, entertaining. Guys, catch a breath, and let us pray for them. And let us pray for those beautiful girls. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, hit the notification button, my darlings, and you will see me what? You will see me sooner than later. All of my love.